facilitate having those kinds of conversations with them as a parent, asking them about their feelings and allowing them to show them to you. So they're learning this is how it feels when I talk to somebody I trust, and I trust my friend. And so anybody else who doesn't hit that friendship mark gets put into a different category. And it's important for them to be able to decide this person is my friend, give that autonomy to them. This person is my friend because they do XYZ. They listen to me, they're interested, I like the things that they do, we have a lot of fun together, those things. And gives them the autonomy to tell you, okay, this is why when you push me to go into other groups to meet other people, I don't like them. I can't be their friend. I know you're telling me to make friends, but it doesn't fit that definition for me. And that gives everyone, I think, a lot of clarity about what a friendship looks like for each person involved.
Hi, welcome back to Mother's Guide Through Autism podcast. I am Brigitte Shipman. I'm your host. And today I have a question for you. What if your child doesn't need to become more social, but simply needs more space to connect in their own way? In today's episode, we're talking with Coach Lee Hopkins, a late diagnosed autistic adult who spent years feeling disconnected, masking, and burnout from trying to fit in. Now he helps other neurodivergent individuals build their relationships without losing themselves in the process. So if you've ever been worried, which I'm sure you have, because I have, about your child feeling isolated or not making friends in a typical way, this conversation will open your heart, shift your perspective, and give you practical tools to support authentic connection. So stay with us and welcome Coach Lee Hopkins to Mother's Guide.
Wow, what a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much, Bridget. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, and I am so grateful that you're here too. So I want to start with just tell us who you are, what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I am a social connections coach, and like you said in the introduction, I help late diagnosed autistic adults make more meaningful relationships, and it's all because I struggled with it for my entire life. And in fact, I didn't even know that I was autistic until fairly recently. And it's been a struggle to connect with others. I've found that even though I've gone to therapy and I've gotten these really great lessons to understand more about me and how to connect with other people or how to express my feelings to other people and how to understand other people's feelings, I was missing that thing, whatever it is, that thing that makes me more air quotes likable and people wanting to connect with me. And I discovered there are certain things I need to do because my brain is seeking these patterns to understand it. I experimented and I found that, oh, this is step A, step B, step C. And I put that together in a coaching program so that I can help others because I found it and I just thought, wow, this is just so great. I have to share it with other people. So I help people figure out those situations that are nuanced. I put some steps to it, like my autistic brain wants to see.
I love that. So of course, I'm thinking about my son who can get social anxiety and so forth. It's hard to find a therapist to connect to. So do you coach all ages? I'm just curious.
Well, I tend to focus on the later diagnosed, so late 30s and up. And it's just because it's my own lived experience. I find that people who were diagnosed earlier tend to have some kind of support or different awareness about how they show up, whereas the people who have been diagnosed a little later just may not know and it hits them in a different way. They've already duct taped their strategies together and I kind of understand those strategies. No one's helped them build it.
Yeah, that's so interesting and good to know. So we've already mentioned you're a late diagnosed autistic adult who you did experience deep loneliness and also social burnout. Would you share a bit about that part of your journey and how it led you to do this work?
Yeah, absolutely. I could trace back to when I was a kid when these things, when I felt alone and the things that felt good and fun and exciting to me, or just observations that I've had about the world. Like asking questions that didn't make sense to other people. It was obvious to them, but not quite obvious to me. Asking for explanations or pointing out things that were obvious to me and I thought needed attention, like, oh, you're mad. No, I'm not. Oh, well, I'm in trouble now because I pointed out that thing. And that theme has kind of warped my reality in the sense that I can't trust myself because everyone else says that that person isn't mad, but I think they are. So I've kind of carried that with me, and it's been a struggle to look at other people. It's made me think I need to look at other people to get the sense of self because they're right and I'm wrong. And if I point out something that's obvious to me or makes sense to me, then I'm gonna get in trouble. So the masking started to go along, to get along, looking for approval from others, being really rejection sensitive and just performing the motions for my entire life and realizing later after doing this in my 20s and my 30s and just realizing that oh it's not working. I thought that if I could just mask, if I can just be like everybody else, if I could just be like everybody else, then I would be liked like it seems like everybody else is being liked. But it just didn't work. I couldn't talk about things that were important and special to me, and I hit a breaking point where I just really wanted to be me. I really wanted to talk about how much I like board games. I remember being made fun of because I really loved Dance Revolution in my 20s. I really wanted to talk about things that were interesting and my eating habits, eating ramen for like a whole month straight and nothing but ramen, but I didn't want to seem weird. And so I just felt so like, but people around me know me, but they don't really know me. And that was just such a lonely experience in my personal and professional life.
Yeah. And, as a parent, it's really difficult because you don't know, you think you know, but you don't know. And so you're trying to be a support to your child in the whole journey, and we do miss it. I've learned so much over these past few years that I wish I would have known what I know now, learning from people like you that can explain things to us, right?
Yeah, and I have to say, I'm having my own feelings about this, like protective feelings of you, because there are so many people out there who just don't know and they don't want to know. It's work to do what you do. I'm saying to look at it from my point of view because it's not your experience. And the fact that you're doing this today and now feels really comforting to me because I mean, I kind of wish that more people would. And so it's a real great comfort, even though you didn't know what you don't know. Right now, you can have the tools and you help other people get the tools to make the situation a lot easier for us to connect.
Yeah. Yeah, I really appreciate you saying that. That's very sweet. It's kind of like shortening Maya Angelou, know better, do better, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so looking back, I was excited to ask you this question. Looking back, what do you wish someone had understood about you as a child or a teen or even a young adult that might have helped you feel more connected and seen?
I really wish that someone would just be interested in me, just interested in the observations that I had instead of saying that they were wrong or they were bad or I should never talk about them. And that would have just been really helpful to really feel like I wasn't so much and that my view of the world makes sense, even though they didn't fully understand it. I wouldn't have even noticed if they had pretended. I wouldn't even notice that they were just like, oh, wow, good job. I would have appreciated that, I think, most in my entire life. So I think that would be it.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that because I have noticed from my perspective that a lot of times it takes a while for me to understand what Joseph is trying to get across to me. But I'm going to hang in there as long as it takes and as long as he's
Mhm.
willing to try to tell me, you know. So I get that. And so I know the one thing he has expressed to me is that out of all the things, he appreciates the patience,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
I think you can
Yes.
that,
I
right?
I love that. Yes, absolutely. Patience. I found that. in my own journey that there were a lot of ideas and concepts that I had and I wanted to share that people had just no knowledge of. But I had such a desperate desire to express myself and to be heard that I would just go ahead and talk at them and I'd lose them. I would feel so upset that I had lost them, like info dumping on them about all of the exciting things about whatever my interest is. I can definitely point to Dance Dance Revolution as one of those interests, all the exciting things about it. And they're just like, oh, I'm not interested. I don't care. But the patience to hold on, to get a little bit of information, even if they just reflected back a little bit to me, would have made all the difference in the world.
Yeah, and I feel that. And I can think of so many scenarios with my son like that, very similar. So I feel that. I know that many autism moms worry about, their kids feeling isolated, like we've been talking about, and that they have trouble making friends. So, what are some ways that we as parents can support authentically, where we're not pushing or making it obvious to make you feel bad as a parent,
Hmm.
to socially connect so it doesn't force you to mask or pushing you into an uncomfortable situation? Because I feel like I have done that to Joseph. Of course, now I know better, but I can
Hmm.
see how easy that is to do as a parent. So, what do we do?
Yeah, go out and make friends. You don't want to be lonely. You want people your age to experience life with. Your friends are going to understand you better than I am as your mom. They're going to understand the lingo and everything. So I would say that something that helped me in my 30s. So I'm 42 now, but in my 30s, I did group therapy, and it was really great practice to understand people's thoughts and their feelings and expressing them. The biggest problem that I had with being in social situations before going through this therapy is that I just didn't know what to do. There was so much nuance. There are too many people talking. When is it my turn? What did what can I say that's relevant, that's going to make the connection for them? So if they're talking about going on a train across the country because they're really interested in going on the train, and I jump in and I talk about all the stats and facts that I know about the train system, who invented it, how long the longest railroad is, and so forth. I didn't know that I missed that cue. And I'm forever scarred, what feels like it, forever scarred because everybody's looking at me like I wasn't paying attention, but I thought I was contributing. And so I think the biggest thing that we could do is practice, is having those rules and skills set aside. Because for me, it was, I get the pattern. Okay, somebody talks, then I talk, but when do I talk? What do I say? Or is it the right time to talk? I mean, I understand that something needs to happen, but if you just told me what and when, then I could apply it. And I think that would go for a lot of people. I just need to know when. And it just seems to come natural for other people. We're talking because we're not really interested in doing anything with the information that we share. It's just fascinating to us. Or it's just fascinating, I'm sorry, to the other people that are speaking. But for me, I want some structure. I want some guidance. I want to know why you're giving me this information and what I need to do with it. And if I don't know those things, it's a sensory overload. And so reiterating, practice, some rules, and understanding of when to say what.
Yeah, I can see how that would be helpful. And it's all about the timing. I've noticed that with my son. He just doesn't know, is it time? Is it time now?
Yeah, and when I first started doing this too, my social skills were very, very awkward in the sense that, all right, I will announce, okay, I'm gonna talk now. I would announce it for me and everybody else there because I wasn't sure. Like, all right, it's my turn. I felt really uncomfortable just jumping in. So I had to let everybody know because I would want that courtesy of everybody letting me know what I'm going to say, that I'm going to talk and I'm going to talk about X topic in the middle of a conversation that probably would have been nice to free flow and no one else needed that prompt. But I did it anyway and it worked. So after a while, I stopped needing to do that prompt.
That's great. Yeah, it takes practice, is what I'm hearing. Yeah, and structure.
Structure and a little bit of the ability to deal with that uncomfortable place.
Yeah. Yeah, which is where the patience and support come in, right?
Yes.
So you teach something called strategic vulnerability. Is there a way parents can model or teach this kind of communication to their child? their children? Like, how do we do that?
That's a lovely question. So let me talk about strategic vulnerability, and then I'll go into answering how can we apply this to parents. So strategic vulnerability is where you discover something that is important about yourself that you'd want to share with another person. So I talk about four feelings in particular, these four basic feelings that show up all over the place. It's joy, sadness, fear, and anger. I teach people to talk about the thing that's joyful to them because that thing is the most connecting. It's joy is something that gravitates other people towards you. It's attractive. And so you want to talk about something that's joyful to you. But you don't want to talk about something that's very, very deep. Something like I'm getting married and I have all this excitement about it. Talk about something that's small to practice, something that's small to practice with. So something small like I like board games or I really enjoy a TV show because it's just not as emotionally invested. So
Mm,
now that we understand, we want to talk about something that's joyful to us. We want to be able to share it in a way that feels good to us. So what I teach strategic vulnerability for is so that when you're revealing something about yourself, because I'm imagining my ideal client has been rejected so many times, they have that rejection sensitivity dysphoria that they're afraid to share anything about themselves. So they want to be careful about that. So share
mm,
something small that's interesting to you, and then you're going to watch how the other person responds. And it's really important that you know what you're looking for in that response.
mm,
This is meant to empower the person who is sharing, who is being vulnerable, because they're looking for a positive sign. So if you share that you like board games, a positive sign would be something like, oh, wow, what do you like about them? What's your favorite? That's super interesting. Some curiosity. But if they respond in a way that doesn't feel good, like, ah, that's stupid. I don't play those games, making it about them or dismissing you, then you want to be careful not to share anymore. It's a skill meant to help the person who is opening up feel more empowered about what they share so that they don't end up getting really, really hurt by somebody, really, really hurt and sharing with the wrong person. How we can apply this for parents is to actually practice that kind of skill. So if your child came to you and said, wow, my fixation of the week is kale, and I love all these things about it. Some positive reinforcement, some curiosity about it is fantastic. Just want to make sure we do that. But I would like to also say, and I think this is very important, if you practice this, you want to tell them the importance of that situation, that particular situation. I'm very interested in you, and that is how your friends are going to treat you. When you talk about something that's interesting to you, that's how your friends are going to respond. Just pay attention to that. Let's practice so you know how it feels. I could go on. I'm going to pause here, though. Okay. Oh, no, I did pause. Did I? Oh, no.
I can hear you.
Okay. I wanted to pause because I thought maybe you had thoughts.
Sure. I see what you're saying. Here we go. Here we go. This is organically, we're doing what we're practicing, right? This is
Yes.
exactly what Joseph and I do.
Oh, yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Oh, okay. I missed the cue. There you go.
Oh,
Isn't that great?
I love you so much for that because we have cues. We each have cues a stick.
Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
cues that you miss, I miss, and
Oh, I so
you
missed that.
you were the very first person to say that to me.
Really?
Yeah, very first person to say that to me. I strive for autistic people or non-autistic people to understand that there's something that they might miss too. And
Yeah.
so taking some ownership and empowerment over how they interact.
Absolutely. Because look, I'm human.
Yeah.
And when you said pause, I thought, oh, you need to pause. Maybe there's something going.
Oh.
I love how this is exactly what you and I are discussing, right?
Mhm.
It is, and what I had brought up about Joseph. So, yeah, Joseph, he's not the only one that misses stuff. Absolutely, I do. And what I love in return is the love and patience that Joseph gives me, that you're giving me, because you're putting forth so much effort in this interview. And Joseph put so much effort in trying to explain things to me. And yeah, They zoom right over my head, and I will be the first one to take accountability for it. And I am so amused right now that this
Me too.
authentically
Me too.
interview, and we are not going to cut it out. We are
All
not,
right.
okay?
I received that. And so I hear you saying that you may have missed some of the things that I've said in the explanation. This is what I'm interpreting. And it's on me to, well, we would work together. If we were sitting there, we weren't interviewing with each other, we'd work really hard together to kind of figure out where we can meet. Like, what didn't you understand? What could I reword? Or what did you get it? And so forth. Because you are super curious. And I also want to make sure that I'm heard.
Yes. Exactly. And so the only thing I missed was when you said pause, I literally thought you were going to pause and you needed to get up to do something or something was going on behind the scenes. And so that was my disconnect.
Okay, so then I would,
Yeah.
if I were to go back and say, this is what I do in natural conversation with other people, and it kind of throws them off guard, but I would say, I feel like I've been talking too much, so I'm gonna pause. But I didn't say that, so I didn't give you, I needed to tell you what I was thinking, but I didn't do
Yeah,
that.
well, it worked out. It couldn't have
It
worked
did.
out any better as far as I'm concerned. This is exactly what Joseph and I do. I absolutely love what you were explaining and how important it is for us to what I was a teacher, right? So for me, I felt like with Joseph, every moment was a teaching moment. When you
Yeah.
were explaining how to go, oh, I hear you. That is really interesting about the kale, and use that moment for not only to teach, but to connect.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's it. That's absolutely it. Nailed it. Exactly. And if my parents had known of that skill, I would be more well adjusted. I would know what it feels like to connect with other people. I would know what it sounds like to be included instead of trying to figure it out myself. I would know what actions and behaviors belong with inclusion and support. But everything is a teachable moment. Everything's a teachable moment.
Exactly. And not just for Joseph, but as we just shared, it's for me too, right? I'm learning too. And that's what
And me too. Yeah.
right? We're all learning and we all strive to be better at whatever it is that we need to improve, but to accept it and just say, you know what? I'm not very good at this, but I am good at this. And to
Hmm.
concentrate on what the strengths are as well, not just
Absolutely.
what we're missing.
Hmm.
Oh, and by the way, I think you're very well adjusted.
Thank you. I I love that. Thank you.
So that was a great explanation. And I do think it's a practical tool that parents can use. So when it comes to friendships, I've watched a lot of kids struggle socially. But how can we parents shift expectations around, I'm going to do quotations to normal friendship, what that's supposed to look like?
Okay. Yes.
It's
So
loaded, I know.
it's a loaded question. I'd love to break this down. My favorite things to do is to provide some structure to some things. So when you put the air quotes over friend, that's
Yeah.
what messed me up my entire life because I thought Friends were like the TV show. You could do anything. You could laugh at each other. You can play jokes on each other. You can hurt each other's feelings. You can do whatever it is, and you still just kind of get over it. That's what it looked like to me. And I thought that that's what everybody else was doing too. Just whatever, and then you're friends. Not even, there's no specific actions and behaviors behind it. There's no real definition for friendship. So what I like to do and what I teach my clients is to break these people, all the people in the world, down into five different categories. You talk about strangers. Strangers are people you just don't know. You just probably breathe the same air. That's it. Going up the levels to closeness, strangers, and then you have your acquaintances or your associates. Actually, associates are people that you associate a specific hobby or activity with. Nothing else. You cannot talk about your deepest, darkest feelings with those people. You can't express your greatest joys with them because they just can't connect. They just do not understand. And then you have your acquaintances. Those are people that you see every now and then, or you probably work with. You know a little bit about them, but again, you can't express your deepest thoughts and feelings with them. They're not really truly invested in you. And then we have Above that, your friends, those are the categories, and they do something specific. They understand your thoughts and your feelings. They can take accountability for themselves. Like if they've hurt you, then they come back and talk about it. They have some emotional intelligence when it comes to it. I know we may be talking about children, but still, I think they're capable of forgiveness and understanding and compassion for each other too, and beyond. And so your friends, those are people that will do that for you. They understand you, but they may not be capable of understanding the deepest stuff about you. And that would be the top of the pyramid. Your closest connections could be family members or not, depending. Your family members could be strangers, however you were raised. Your family members could be friends because you were so close, or they could be really close connections. That title that society gives us to say family has specific actions and behaviors tied to it, that is that they are going to be the people that are there for you all the time. They're going to love you no matter what. They're going to support you in ways that other people won't. Breeds, it makes confusing. It makes it pretty confusing about what a relationship should look like. And so if we step back down and we talk about friendships, those people who just understand us, we can talk about how much we enjoy kale or how much we enjoy trains or something our parents had said to us and it really hurt our feelings. We can share that moment with our friends. I think that's what creates a friendship. And we want to facilitate, if I were talking to a parent and saying, this is what you can do, facilitate having those kinds of conversations with them as a parent, asking them about their feelings and allowing them to show them to you, because that's where the strategic vulnerability comes into play. So they're learning this is how it feels when I talk to somebody I trust, and I trust my friend. And so anybody else who doesn't hit that friendship mark gets put into a different category. And it's important for them to be able to decide this person is my friend, give that autonomy to them. This person is my friend because they do X, Y, Z. They listen to me, they're interested. I like the things that they do. We have a lot of fun together, those things. And gives them the autonomy to tell you, okay, this is why when you push me to go into other groups to meet other people, I don't like them. I can't be their friend. I know you're telling me to make friends, but it doesn't fit that definition for me. And that gives everyone, I think, a lot of clarity about what a friendship looks like for each person involved.
Yeah, that is great. And I like how you break it down. And that I think that would be really easy for both parent and child all the way up to adulthood to understand that, right? And then
Hmm.
how do you build on that? You have friendship, how do you keep the friendship? Stuff like that. What does that mean? Because I can think of so many examples as Joseph became an adult that he didn't understand, oh, they are my friend, but they were just kind of messing with him. You know what I mean? So I think it's really good to understand that and question it. So as they get older, they can see that.
Absolutely. Because I think this has given me trouble all the way up into my 30s, late 30s, just putting definitions around what people are and how they show up. And there's a little bit of a nuance there where most people say that if you spend time with someone often, they are my friend.
Right.
That's not the criteria we met here. They're mean, they're dismissive, they don't care about you, or they demonstrate that they don't care about you. You just have one thing in common that you don't have anybody else to hang out with. That's not a friend. And so being very clear about what that definition is and how it shows up for the individual can really save us a lot of heartache. It saved me a lot of heartache when I realized I was surrounded by a bunch of associates. It's actually really scary. It's
Go for
actually really scary to realize that nobody really knew me. And I did not have an emergency contact. I did not know anybody who was going to help me if I really needed it. And to realize that, oh, yeah, you know what? It's solidified. They wouldn't. Oh, no. What do I do? I need to go back to those people and try to be whatever they need me to be. But that didn't work. I realized that didn't work. So it was scary to hit that point and realize it, but I think it's very empowering to notice it because now if you start categorizing, you start recognizing what you want, then you can go after it.
Yeah, I think that really helps because the one thing I've noticed too is that when you are supporting this journey with anybody, right, the
Hmm.
more I guess the word is literal. I'm not really sure that I can be and use less words with my son. I can see we connect faster.
Yeah. I know you're talking about your son, but I also feel so seen.
Yeah.
Yes, that's absolutely stellar. That is it. I want specificity and clarity about what needs to happen, who's going to do it, how it's going to happen, all of those things, all of those variables. So, yeah,
Yeah. Less is more.
yeah, absolutely. Even though, oh, here I go talking, even though I want to talk a whole lot, less is more. Yeah.
For me, I like to use a lot of words. The more direct I can be, the more I know I'm getting there. So I think, yeah, you that connects with you too.
Absolutely, it does.
I want to know, I'm very curious about this. You often talk about setting boundaries through needs, negotiables, and nevers. Can you explain how that framework, what is that? And if you're a teen or a young adult on the spectrum, how to navigate peer relationships? What are those three words? What do they mean?
Peer relationships and needs, negotiables, and nevers. This is one of the pieces from the framework that I teach in my coaching. I talk about authentic acceptance first, so understanding more about who you are, what you want, and then your needs, negotiables, and nevers fit in there too. So your needs, these are specific actions and behaviors that you want in your life from others in your life. So your friends, they need to be able to do X, Y, Z. That is maybe text you within a few days. That is a need for you. And if you don't have it, it's a deal breaker. And a lot of people don't talk about the need, but it is a deal breaker. Usually they're more intense though. Negotiables, on the other hand, those are behaviors that you might not like or like. They don't really strongly impact whether or not you are going to keep a relationship with someone. So these are behaviors that you can do or behaviors that other people can do. I can negotiate my friend showing up late sometimes, not a big deal. Um, Something like that. And
Mm.
then your nevers, of course, those are the things, the actions, specific actions and behaviors that you do not want to see in another person. You don't want them making fun of you or embarrassing you in front of other people. I never want that to happen. It doesn't feel good. And I won't tolerate it if it happens. You cut the relationship, you let it go. And then there are nevers that you don't want to be able to do with your friends. So you probably never want your friend to allow you to dismiss them and ignore them because it just shows that they may have a low self-worth. This is what I'm thinking as an adult as I go through myself. That's one of the nevers. I don't want anybody to allow me to talk to them in a way or watch other people talk to them in a way that is degrading to them. I don't ever want to have that experience because I had noticed that before in other people where they would let others talk negatively or poorly to them. And if I were to be protective and wanted to defend them, then they would be upset with me. So I really just cut it at, oh, you're letting people talk to you in a way that doesn't feel good to me. So I'll let that go as a never. But needs, negotiables, and nevers are always about specific actions and behaviors. And a lot of people try to throw in the needs and negotiables into the nevers category. It's okay if they don't text back. It's okay if they're a little late. But really, it's upsetting to you. And it's important to know about yourself because if you keep sweeping that under the rug or keep ignoring it, it's going to show up and blow up in the rest of your relationship. It's going to show up somewhere else. Knowing these pieces will help you save a bit of time in building relationships with others. And when we talk about peers or teens and young adults, I think that I would recommend, this is something that I wish that I would have been able to do, but recommend that you kind of guess what your needs, negotiables, and networks are. You just take a guess at it because you need to have the experience. You're not really going to know until you have the experience of your friend showing up late all the time, all the time. Just all the time. It's frustrating to you, but you're not going to know until you have that experience. So what I encourage them to do is to kind of guess what you like and what you don't like, what you want from other people and what you don't, and go experiment and see if people will do those things and then reflect on it. So I know that's quite a bit of work for a teen. So I know I'm talking to parents here too, and that's where you come in. You help them with this reflection and asking them questions about how was the hangout? What did you like about it? What didn't you like? Not just what happened, because they may just say nothing, but asking these questions to kind of get some more information to help them get in touch with their feelings and then categorize these specific actions and behaviors. They're always specific actions and behaviors.
That's great advice. And I think too, I'm just going to add to that scenario in that Joseph seemed to process things a bit longer. So sometimes if I were to be inquisitive, he would just say, I don't know. And I would go, oh, what do you mean you don't know? I don't know. And I think it's important to understand that if Joseph says, I don't know, he really doesn't know. And he'll get back to you when
Yes.
he's ready. Not pushing.
Absolutely. That's a really fabulous point. I can't stop smiling about that because there was a long period of time where I didn't know either. I didn't know why I did what I did or what happened or the feelings. But as you continue to ask and you show patience, it comes faster. The processing comes faster. And eventually, the idea or the objective really is to get the, I don't know, maybe months of thinking down to weeks, down to
Mhm.
days, down to an instant. I know I don't like that. And so you can do something about it in the moment.
Yeah, yes, that is so helpful. I wish I would have known that too, and I will use that. Let's talk about, because this goes right along with everything we're talking about. You said that social confidence is a learnable skill. What's one practical activity a parent or child could do together to build that skill without pressure, right? Because our kids, they melt down, teens melt down, parents are trying to help, but they're actually just making things maybe a little more stressful.
Oh, yes, I know. Because if you're asking me what's wrong and I don't know and I'm just freaking out already, I'm just in my feelings, I can't articulate what's going on, then all that is going to be directed towards you, the well-meaning parent who really just wants to help. And it's no good at all. So, what has worked for me was practicing really, really small moments and spending time articulating my feelings in small moments. So I still communicate this way, and I know that some people just look at me like, "Oh, what are you talking about? Like, why would you say that?" And what I mean is that I will say my feelings flat out, and I would say that I'm upset or I'm angry or I'm sad in a specific way. I think practicing, this is the skill that I teach, is part of it, is I'm upset about something that, or describe the experience. I don't want to say something, but there's describe that the scenario, describe the feeling about the scenario, and then why we feel that way. And the key is to train this skill, much like learning the English language. You learn the little letters first. You learn the easy things. You learn how to put it together. Then you learn how to construct sentences. Then you learn how to construct paragraphs that construct books and whole ideas and stories. So as you have something small and it builds, you're able to make more sense of it. So drawing that back to our feelings and emotions and people, when we are melting down or people are melting down, you want to be able to help them notice the feeling, the smallest feeling first. That's something that they're not even reacting to or responding to. How are you feeling today? Kind of help put a feeling to that. And I know that, quick caveat, if they're alexithymia, it may be more difficult to do,
Mhm.
but if you're able to put some kind of feeling to it, then they could recognize how it shows up in their body, recognize how to express it. It's like, oh, for me, really quick story about how I discovered this in myself because it took a very long time to understand my own feelings. I didn't realize I was depressed for a very long time. So this was 2014. I was really depressed. And I was thinking, huh, somebody told me I was depressed, but I don't even know what that feels like. And then I started to kind of look around at my actions and my behaviors. And when I would come home from work, I just noticed there's a ton of dishes. And then there are lots of things laying around. I'm like, oh, this kind of looks like depression. Am I depressed? And so I kind of had to look at, since I didn't have someone to mirror and suggest or to say, this is what depression looks like, I had to kind of guess, okay, I guess this is what depression looks like.
Mhm.
So recognize it in myself. But parents can say, oh, well, it looks like you're upset. Describe the scenario, describe you're waving your hands around. Looks like you're upset, and then being more curious about that. I think that you're upset. Are you? Or it looks like you're upset. Are you? First of all, checking so that they know what you see, and then asking for why, what happened. And the smaller instances, and I would say even more so, focus on the things that are joyful first. You look really happy. What happened? I'm
Yeah.
working through that exercise. I know that that was quite a bit, but you
No,
you got
I
it.
get a lot of parents who say we're having a meltdown, and I'm like, that's not the time to reason.
Yeah, it's not.
We missed our time, so we just have to get through that meltdown or anger or whatever. So I love how dealing with feelings starting with joy, because then our kids aren't upset already. When they're upset, it's going to be a little bit harder to get them to be able to express what's going on, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The joyful one is the one we really, really want to share, especially if it's safe. Oh boy, I'm gonna info dump on you for days. I'm
Yeah,
gonna tell you everything.
I love that. That's great advice. So, how can we inspire other parents to have more hope and trust in their kids to just be able to connect? It may not look like how we connect, but how do we trust how our kids might or might not connect? Does that make sense?
Yes,
To the
it does. It makes sense to
parent.
trust how they may connect because the way your kids may be speaking may be completely different, or maybe they're just sitting, but they're really enjoying each other's company. It doesn't look like connection would look for you. I would say inspire other parents to stay strong with this and to trust the connection would be to create connections of their own. So, more than anything, I learned from watching people do things. No one sat me down to tell me this is how it's done. I did a lot of observation to figure out how relationships work and most things. And so, if you demonstrate your connection, this is what joy looks like, these are what my friends look like, this is what fun looks like, these are conflicts that I often have, and this is how I talk about them, or this is how I handle them. It gives them a demonstration to learn from and understanding, and you can trust that they're pretty smart and observant, and they will do the thing. If you worked with them and you have a relationship with them in which they can share their feelings and you're curious about it, they'll start asking you questions.
Mm.
And if you're asking questions about what do you like about your friend or this person you're hanging out with, you can be aligned and really trust that they're connecting in a way that feels good to them. You may not understand why they want to sit and do a 50,000 piece puzzle by themselves or with a friend, but you can see that when they speak to you about it, they're intensely joyful about it, and you trust that joy. So whatever they're doing is working for them.
Yeah, yeah, that triggers a lot of memories for me, as I observed Joseph. And just the way I look at it is if your child is enjoying themselves, then that's enough.
So simple. Yes. It's so simple. If they are enjoying themselves, that's enough.
Yeah, yeah. And just watch, observe, and find little tiny ways to connect, right?
Mhm.
Depending on the age, of course, and really where their expressive language is at. And there's so many different variants that go into these things, but I do believe this with all my heart. There's always a way to connect.
I do too. I firmly believe it. Just sitting in the space with each other, just watching something, like watching people watching or whatever it is. I believe that too, firmly.
We're all in this together.
Hmm.
I have just a couple more questions. I do want to know what's one message you'd love every parent raising an autistic child to hear today?
Oh, it's not easy. That's an acknowledgement, and it is a small one about the intensity of the feelings and the experience that you might have with it. But I'd like you to know that although I don't have kids, I was one.
Mhm. Exactly.
And to say that there's somebody out there, like Bridget has just said, There's always a way to connect. So there's somebody out there who has had your experiences, who have your experience now. And if you feel overwhelmed or frustrated, confused, and you need some support, just know that there's somebody out there who can help alleviate that. I think that we're not meant to do anything alone. We're meant to be supported by others. And if there is a problem, there is someone who has faced it too. And just being open and talking about that can help you. So you're probably doing a great job, more than you think if you're not giving yourself enough credit.
Yeah, very important message. That was great. So, where can our listeners, we're going to have all these parents wanting to connect with you, but I'd also like to say people as adults who are on the spectrum who may be listening. How can we find you? Where do we learn more about you?
Yes, you can find me at patternsofpossibility.com. I'm most active on LinkedIn just because I've found that to be a fantastic platform for me. But I have a YouTube channel as well, and I have a podcast. I post episodes every Tuesday talking about these specific skills. And I also have a TikTok, lots and lots of content on TikTok as well. But you can find me most on LinkedIn. It's easiest to connect with me there if you'd like to. You can find me, Coach Lee, on LinkedIn. Just search for that. I also have a summit coming up. It's called the Social Connection Summit. It's my third one. And this year it's gonna be focused on autistic and ADHD professionals. So it's about creating these inclusive workplaces. It's something that we touched upon here, bridging this gap between the communication that we might have. There are going to be advocates and inclusive leaders who are also going to share how they are missing the cues and giving information specifically to those who are not autistic as well. I need somebody else who is curious and may get some of the cues to help bridge the gap. So it's all about bridging that gap. September 24th and September 25th is absolutely free. If you'd like to learn more about it, go to parentsofpossibility.com. I have an interest list already set up, and we talk a little bit about the summit. We'll be updating as we go through, as we get more speakers, and we'd love to hear about what topics are important to you. Because I know one that we have is about parenting and relationships as well, because professionals have autistic children. So we want to talk about that as well and how that dynamic relates. So we do have a panel discussion on that as well. It's something that is on my mind.
Wow. Now, is this online or in person?
Oh, yes, it's online, it's virtual. We want to make it accessible for as many people as possible. So
Oh.
it's going to be absolutely amazing. We have prizes. One of the things that I really wanted to stress is that you just can't go get information without knowing how to apply it or what to do. So I brought together speakers and prizes and things that are really going to make your life easier. So we want you to come and be transformed. Get the knowledge, get the information, but don't just be like, what now?
Yeah.
Here's how you apply it. And if you also need someone to help you apply that information, there will be people there to help you do it as well. So go to patternsofpossibility.com. You can see at the very top, there's a banner. Just click on that banner, click on the banner, and sign up for the interest list.
Wow. I love that you're doing that. I started a 501(c)(3 here. I live in a rural area, and one of our goals is to help young adults get internships, adults get jobs, but have the workforce also be educated in how to make, like you just said, gap that bridge. Perfect.
Yes, we probably need to talk a little more after this.
I agree. I feel connected. I'm so excited. Thank you for doing this work on behalf of everyone that is on this journey. Whether you're neurotypical, neurodivergent, it doesn't matter. Thank you for doing this work and helping us.
Thank you so much for having me here, and it was a pleasure. I would love to just reflect that back to you and say, it's been a really wonderful experience. I do feel connected to and very delightfully surprised.
Well, good.
Delightfully
Okay.
surprised.
Yeah. Thank you. And yes, we will. But for now, listeners, if you enjoyed this episode of A Mother's Guide Through Autism, please subscribe to our YouTube channel because we get the word out and we get to help as many people as we can help if you'll help us share this. So, Until then, I will see you in the next episode, and I wish you all a well, happy day.